You got a hot day?
No,
I'm doing
I
it.
got a hot
I'm
take with
ready.
some books.
Okay.
My television. Today Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
One of the knowles is here. I went too.
Well, we're
We're live.
We're live.
Thank you. You ready,
Hold-
City Clerk?
Not just yet,
You really?
Madam Mayor.
Okay.
It's on for first reading.
you know
We're live, guys, okay? We're getting ready to go.
honestly.
Quiet in the chambers if you could.
All right.
Madam Mayor, it's 6 o'clock. It's really only 5:59 for the next 5 seconds, but it's
In 5, 4, 3, 2. Good
Madam
evening.
Mayor, it's 6 o'clock.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this City Hall Commission meeting to order on this Tuesday, September 26th, and ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Mayor Pam Triolo,
Here.
Vice Mayor Scott Maxwell,
Here.
Commissioner Omari Hardy,
Here.
Commissioner Andy Amoroso, Commissioner Herman Robinson. Thank you.
As this is a special meeting, would everyone please rise for the invocation offered by Pastor Carlos Betancourt from the Church of God on behalf of the Vice Mayor. Would you join us, please? Pastor, thank you.
Thank you and good evening, everybody. Please, let's close our eyes and let's pray together. Our Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening to give you thanks for the opportunity that you allow us to meet here with these people that serve our community day by day. We ask your grace and wisdom upon them, so as leaders of our community, they can guide us and take or make better decisions in our benefit. Give them the strength, physical, emotional, and spiritual that they need, so, and to us also, the knowledge of knowing that they are on their positions by you to help us. Bless them, guide them, keep them. We ask for your presence and this meeting and always. In your name, amen.
Thank you. Thank you. Commissioner Hardy, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, additions, deletions, reordering, are there any?
No, Madam Mayor.
Okay, then we shall move on to the public hearings. Item 5A, resolution number 43-2017, the second public hearing. Again, most of these, I
Madam-
believe, are, or at least the first three are second hearings, so.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'll make
Vice
a
Mayor.
motion. Can I make a motion?
Yes, Commissioner.
I move that, on our second public hearing, that we adopt a millage rate of 5.2445 for fiscal year 2017, 2018, general, city millage rate.
Second.
5.42, I'm sorry.
For a point of clarification,
Yes,
can
Commissioner
we?
Hardy?
I'm sorry. Thank you,
Mhm.
Madam Mayor. For a point of clarification, can we note that there's a difference between the millage rate that Commissioner Maxwell just moved to adopt and the millage rate we have currently in place at this time?
So noted.
That basically affects a
It would
quarter of a
be,
mil reduction?
Okay, go ahead, please, City Manager.
Madam Mayor and Commissioners, the motion as made by Vice Mayor is indeed a quarter of a mil less than the budget number that was approved for millage rate at the last meeting.
We've got a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor, say Commissioner Hardy?
I thought we took a drink at this fountain last meeting. I would certainly like to hear if people have changed their minds. I guess what has motivated that change of heart or change of mind on this issue.
Okay. Commissioner Robinson?
I haven't changed my mind. It was my understanding that we were keeping the millage rate the same.
Okay. So he's not aware of the
I
Vice Mayor's.
apologize. And a second, then we can have our vote.
Okay.
But nothing has changed. In the future, we need to look forward to investing and paying our storm expenses at least.
Vice Mayor?
If Mr. Robinson is not certain about his motion, I don't want to put him in a spot. If he wants to rescind his motion, that's fine.
Well,
You can rescind your,
can we,
rescind your second.
by rescinding it, are we going to vote on the existing rate or?
Well, I would have to find out if there was a second to the original motion, if you rescind your second, and if there wasn't a second to the first motion, then the motion would fail, and I would ask for another motion, which would be the original motion.
Correct.
I'd just
For
like,
me to say.
like to put it behind us, so I'll rescind it and we'll move on.
Okay. So we've got a motion on the floor and still looking for a second.
Madam Mayor, you can pass the gavel if you so choose.
I've actually changed my mind since our last discussion.
Very well.
I think that, I weighed both, I actually watched back at the meeting and I looked and I had a tough time with it in the last meeting, as I said, on both ways, I weighed both sides of the conversation. I still do believe, and I would like to make an effort, to be adamant with this commission, that it's time for a millage rate reduction. We've been here for 6 years, we've done a lot, it's time for a millage rate reduction. Everyone stepped up as residents and business owners and did the right thing. We've had a lot of challenges put before us, the road and infrastructure projects, to say the least, with the current storm in front of us, and I know that they come from different pots from what we're talking about, but I would feel much more comfortable in this budget cycle if we kept the millage rate the same and if we moved, but I would encourage you that I will fight like you know what the next time around for not just a ceremonial reduction of the millage rate, but a larger reduction of the millage rate, if at all financially possible, based on where our current standings are, but at least this amount of a millage rate in the next budget cycle. Because it's time, the citizens of this community deserve it, and I don't, I will be very strong in that the next time around, but I'm willing to step off of that this time, because I believe that, this storm has left me uncertain as to expenses, and I know that we've been in quite a sticky wicket this last year, making the budget revisions and getting things down where we needed them to be for a balanced budget, and but that doesn't mean that I'm not for a millage rate reduction, and I want to thank you, Vice Mayor, for standing up for this. I know you've been a proponent of this for a long time, and I've stood beside you, and I'm not standing apart from you in this. I think it's still important, but I do believe at this time it's not the right decision, and it weighs heavily on my mind, but I've made that choice. Vice Mayor?
Has anything changed financially since our last meeting? Because we were advised that this is not a problem for finance or our budget.
To me, it hasn't changed financially, except for the fact when I review the numbers of the entire budget and see where we are and what we're taking from the reserves, I'm just not as comfortable taking that much from the reserves at this point until we're finished and gone through the budget cycle. That's my only concern. Commissioner Robinson?
I'd just like to make sure that when people talk about a tax increase this year, it's based on the added value of our properties. It isn't a tax increase. It's a
Well, we
increase.
can go back and argue that
Well-
that's a political philosophy that'll be argued from sides
But-
from now till eternity.
But I hear it from the public of a tax increase, and I certainly want to emphasize that we live in a community that the values are increasing. If we want to live in a community that the values don't increase, that's unfortunate. But I think it's a good thing that the property values in Lake Worth are increasing, and it's not. It's a stretch to call it a tax increase.
Vice Mayor?
I don't think you want to have this debate, Madam Mayor, but I mean, there needs to be some clarification, there's some edification here on the trim in Florida law. We can sit here and call it whatever we want, we can call it, a moon pie. The bottom line is, it is a tax increase. We are voting for a tax increase if we do not change the millage rate tonight. We do not lower it. It will be a tax increase.
Okay, separate, we need a motion. We're sitting here and debating without a motion because the first one failed for lack of a second.
I move to basically, adopt the millage rate that we've had.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
in reference to what you said, Vice Mayor, like I said, I totally get it, and I feel very strongly about it too. But I also know that we didn't bring up this conversation of a tax increase when we accepted the millage as the same last year and the year before and the year before that and the year before that. We didn't talk about it being a tax increase.
For the record, Madam Mayor, next year, if we're looking at raising the millage rate again because of homestead exemption, I can assure you that I will not be voting to put our millage rate over 9 mils.
I can assure you that I will be standing right behind you, screaming just as loudly as you are.
It's not going to happen on my watch.
I agree with you. Commissioner Hardy?
Yes, just 3 things I'd like to hit. The first thing is that, given the way, the machinations that we have to go through to adopt a millage rate, I just want to state that it's a lot easier to lower taxes than it is to raise taxes, right? So, low millage rates are very sticky. High millage rates aren't nearly as sticky as that. And given the fact that there's a lot of uncertainty going forward, not just with the storms that occurred in this year, but also with future homestead exemptions and potentially storms that may occur in the future. I believe that, we've had 13 years of not having any major storm make landfall in Florida. And, we have been very lucky. And, I would say that, we are perhaps due, not just, as far as what happened with Irma, but it's quite possible that we could get more very serious storms to hit this region of the country. And so, I think it's really important. And I'm not sure how financially conservative it might be to lower millage rates, particularly at this time. The other thing is that Floridians have lots of protections against tax increases. These protections basically have been created by the legislature and through various constitutional amendments going all the way back to 1993. But to save our homes, right? Property values may be increasing, but basically Floridians will pay no more in taxes than a 3% increase on the value of their property. That's just what the law is. So when we talk about tax increases, 3% on a percentage of a percent, which is what a mill is, right? Is not that big a deal in the grand scheme of things. When you think about that, also you think about homestead exemptions. When it started out at $25,000, right? Then it went up to $50,000, and it's quite probably going to go up to $75,000. That's going to take $286,000 out of our general fund from one year to the next. In addition to that, we also have many historic districts here, and people get abatements for improving their homes in historic districts, right? And so that is another protection that people in Lake Worth benefit from. And I see no evil in maintaining the status quo as regards our millage rate. Now, there are lots of status quos here in the city that we can affect. That this commission, before I became a member, has worked hard to affect and change and upturn. And I think that if we want to spur investment, we should continue to focus on those. The other thing is, and just as a point of clarification, maybe I'm not understanding it, and maybe I need to have someone explain it to me, but I do not understand the relationship between a homestead exemption increase and an increase in the millage rate. We set the millage rate, right? The millage rate is something that we determine. It has not affected the millage rate, right? It is not affected, at least as far as I can tell, by an increase in the homestead exemption. So it seems to me that when I hear Vice Mayor Maxwell say that the homestead exemption increase is going to cause our millage rate to increase, that doesn't make sense to me, because as I understand, we're the only entity that can cause our millage rate to increase. So I would like to gain a better understanding of that ostensible relationship between the millage rate and the homestead exemption. That's all.
Vice Mayor?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Hardy. You just said that if the new homestead exemption goes through, it'll cost us an additional $281,000. That will come directly out of our budget, which means if we do not increase the millage rate, we're going to have to cut services.
One at a time.
That's the relationship between,
Are you,
that I just want to clarify. He needed clarification. I just clarified it for him.
okay, Commissioner Hardy? And
Okay.
we're not gonna go back and forth like this. This is the last time, and we're not gonna go, this isn't a debate. This is to share information and ask questions.
yeah.
Okay, but you guys are debating. So just
Well,
wanna make that point.
at what point do you have that discussion? Wait, what point do 5 elected
Well, we're-
officials have that conversation?
Right, well, you've already stated your opinions though, and you're just going back and forth, so
Well,
that's all I'm saying. You're both disagree. So how successful do you think this conversation will be that you both disagree? You answered a question, now will come a question, or will we reiterate the same point again?
Well,
That's why I'm clear, make it clear to me, because I'd like to know the difference.
I think I did ask a question
You did.
about
You answered it.
the relationship in Commissioner Maxwell's mind between the millage rate and additional homestead increases. Commissioner Maxwell made a point about that. I am going to attempt to clarify
Okay.
what it was that Commissioner Maxwell said.
Right.
And so basically, when Commissioner Maxwell says that if voters vote themselves a tax decrease, then that money is going to come out of our general fund, and we have two choices: either to take that money from our reserves or fund balance, right, to provide the same level of service, or to cut services. And so if we choose not to cut services, and if we choose not to take additional money out of fund reserves, then we must therefore raise the millage rate above where it currently stands at 8.99 whatever mils, right? And so my rejoinder to that is that Commissioner Maxwell has proposed a millage rate decrease that would take the same amount of money. Almost, there's a $50,000 difference between the amount of money that a quarter of a mil decrease would take out of our budget and the amount of money that an additional homestead exemption increase would take out of our money. Yet Commissioner Maxwell does not see then that in order to replace that money, we have to either cut services or take money out of fund balance, right? And so on one hand, he's saying that if we lose money because of a homestead exemption increase, then we have to raise the millage rate. But he's saying that we should lower the millage rate so that we can lower our tax receipts. And that, those are two inconsistent actions given what he thinks will occur. I felt it necessary to draw that out.
Okay. Vice
Either you
Mayor,
want the
last-
250 or you don't
last
want the
chance.
Here's
250.
That's the
here's
last
the
one.
fundamental flaw in your comparison.
And this is the last shot on this one, okay? Boom, done.
Here's the fundamental flaw. When you talk about a tax decrease or a millage rate reduction, we have already received that money and we're in a position to offer a tax reduction. It is the taxpayers' money to begin with. Okay, we are not in the business of banking the taxpayers' money, excess money above and beyond budgets that we adopt and implement over the years. Okay, there could be a point in time where that could be a little testy in the courts. Okay, it's not our money just to bank. We can't just bank excess of money and just throw it around, keep it in the bank somewhere. It has to be, it's the residents' money, it's the taxpayers' money. Well, why do you look befuddled over that?
Are we doing that?
That's exactly what that is. Where do you think an undesignated fund balance is?
Well,
But it's also paying your bills.
it's also paying bills, and we're also drawing from fund balance to pay bills. Like, we have bills that we have to pay that are above what we are taking in right now. If I'm not, maybe I've misread the budget, and maybe I don't understand the way that works. That's totally true. That's totally possible. I'm completely fallible. But as far as I understand, we are dipping into fund balance to pay some of our bills. So it's not like we're taxing residents and not providing services for every single dollar that we take in. I see it as quite the other way around.
Okay, I'm gonna wrap this up here. My philosophy is, and I'm the one who's been on both sides of this argument because we're all together here. We all want to do the right thing. I think for me, most of all, is that as we've improved and as our property values have gone up and we've been here, when I say, and I use these terms loosely, sorry, very homeschool, but when I say do the right thing, we've asked everybody to sacrifice in the city. The residents, the homeowners, the businesses, everybody has sacrificed in the last 6 years plus, doing their part to help us try to get things back on track. Everyone has sacrificed, they've suffered, whether or not it's with payments or with things, and everyone, our employees have. They went without 8 years or 9 years without raises. They went without. Everybody has played their part in. Now with things getting good, the goal for me, and I can only speak on my behalf, is that in these times that we've righted a wrong here, righted a wrong there, done what we had to do, and we asked the residents to step up and do a major thing in the infrastructure plan and the bond, initiative, and they did. And I want to try to continue that path. As we improve, we share it. You're all stuck. They're all stakeholders in this company called Lake Worth, which happens to be our hometown. And I'm looking to make sure that everybody is touched by this as we improve and get better. And that's where I stand with the millage rate reduction, just because it was raised so high long before I was here, or any of us were here. And he fought against it every time it was raised that he was here. So I understand his frustrations, and I also think it's time to give back to the people and to get in the habit of, as we improve, to be able to lower this to a reasonable level that helps us compete and remove disincentives, that being one of them, from spurring investment in our community. And we've spent 6 hard years removing disincentives, and look at, we're achieving rate parity here in our next budget cycle. So, you know, it's time for the community to experience that win on their behalf in regards to their taxes. But like I said, is this the right time? I'm stepping to this side of the argument now to say that, but that's why I will fight for it the next time around. If things are going well and we're continuing in this upward trajectory, then I will fight. I will stand immediately beside him, and I hope you'll stand beside us in that, and it will be unanimous at that time. That's all I have to say. We've got a motion on the floor in a second. Any public comment cards?
No, ma'am.
Seeing there are none, all those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
Motion carries 4-1.
Mayor,
Did you read the resolution?
Yes, I need to
I'm
read the
sorry.
resolution. That's okay.
I always look for it with an ordinance and forget about the resolutions.
Resolution number 43-2017, in the city of Lake Worth, Florida, a municipal corporation of the state of Florida levying municipal tax on all taxable property within the city of Lake Worth, Florida for the fiscal year beginning on October 1, 2017 and ending September 30, 2018, repealing all resolutions and ordinance in conflict herewith and providing for the effective date thereof.
So we have a motion on the floor for that resolution and a second. All those in favor?
And Madam Mayor, let me just state for the record that the millage rate is 5.4945 mils, which is 7.24% more than the rollback rate of 5.1237 mils. Thank you.
Motion on the floor and a second. All those in
I'm
favor?
sorry, I didn't get the motion.
The motion was made by Commissioner Harding and it was seconded by Commissioner Amoroso.
Thank you.
Which, are we re-voting, Madam Mayor?
We have to revote because the ordinance, the resolution was not read. Motion on the floor in a second. All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries 4-1. Thank you all. Resolution, do you want to read the resolutions first, City
Yes,
Attorney, so
thank
I
you.
don't forget you?
Madam Mayor,
Vice Mayor?
isn't that the proper procedure, to read the resolution first?
Usually it's the ordinances first. I'm not familiar with the, unless
I asked that question the last time because this issue of the millage rate was spoken to, and when somebody jumped in, made a motion before the resolution was read, which included the fact that it was a tax increase. Okay?
Okay.
And now the second reading, we're gonna go ahead and read the resolution the way it's supposed to be done. I just want to clarify that.
Yeah, I think at the last meeting, the finance director read a statement into the record that talked about the amount of the millage rate and the amount it was over rollback.
After the vote.
We normally had a script for resolutions during public hearings, and that's what's missing. We don't have that script this time around, so then forgive me. So that's something we need to have the next time around for public
Absolutely, I
hearings.
apologize.
Thank you.
Okay,
Attorney, would you read the resolution?
Resolution number 44-2017 is general appropriation resolution of the city of Lake Worth, the municipal corporation of the state of Florida, making separate and several appropriations for its necessary operating expenses, the use and expenses of the various funds and departments of the city for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2017, and ending September 30, 2018, providing for the effective date thereof.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hardy, second.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Robinson. Do we have any public comment cards?
No, Madam Mayor.
All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries 4-1. Moving on to item C, City Attorney.
Item number C is resolution number 45-2017 of the city of Lake Worth, Florida, municipal corporation, state of Florida, levying voter-approved municipal taxes on all taxable property within the city of Lake Worth, Florida for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2017 and ending September 30, 2018, repealing our resolutions and ordinances in conflict herewith and providing for the effective date hereof.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by
Seconded.
Vice Mayor, seconded by Commissioner Hardy. Any public comment cards?
No, Madam Mayor.
Seeing there are none, all those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to item D, City Attorney.
Resolution number 53-2017 of the city of Lake Worth, Florida, providing for water system rates and charges, providing for severability, providing for the repeal of all resolutions or parts of resolutions in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Amoroso, second.
Seconded.
Seconded by Commissioner Hardy. Any public comment cards?
No, Madam Mayor.
Seeing there are none, all those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item E, City Attorney.
Resolution number 54-2017 of the city of Lake Worth, Florida, providing for rates, fees, and charges fees for the regional sewage disposal system of the city of Lake Worth, providing for severability, providing for repeal of conflicting resolutions or conflicting parts of resolutions, and providing an effective date.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Amoroso. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Robinson. Any public comment cards?
No, Madam Mayor.
Seeing there are none, all those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. City Attorney, you're gonna be really tired.
Resolution number 55-2017 of the City of Lake Worth, Florida, providing for rates, fees, and charges for use of sewage disposal system of the City of Lake Worth, providing for severability, providing for the repeal of conflicting resolutions or parts of resolutions, and providing an effective date.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Amoroso, second.
Seconded.
Seconded by Commissioner Hardy. Any public comment cards?
No, Madam Mayor.
Seeing there are none, all those in favor state so by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Commissioner, I'm sorry, Vice Mayor, I didn't hear you. I missed you.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to item G, City Attorney.
Resolution number 56-2017 of the City of Lake Worth, Florida, providing for rates, fees, and charges and regulations for all electricity sold by the City of Lake Worth, Florida for use of electric light and power system, repealing our resolutions in conflict herewith, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
So moved.
Moved by the Vice Mayor, seconded by Commissioner Hardy. All those in, any public comment cards?
No, Madam Mayor.
Seeing there are none, all those in favor. Should this make us at rate parity?
By January of 2018.
Yes, sir. All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. I'm sorry, I got carried away. That pretty much wraps up our meeting for this evening. We have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Are we going to talk about future meetings in terms of or the tax, the penny sales tax is on the agenda,
So next,
is our next.
so our next meeting for the following one.
No, we actually have it coming up at the,
October the 10th, I believe.
Well, no, that
that's
got
comp
bumped.
plan. It's
the
November.
comp plan had to go, so it's in November.
It's in November.
So the tax, penny sales tax is in November.
Workshop.
Are we going to
Yes.
have a retreat of any kind?
It's a workshop.
That's a
It's
workshop.
a work session and it's on the 28th of November. It's right after the holiday.
But that's specifically for the penny sales tax.
Correct.
Yes, Commissioner.
Okay, we had talked about having a retreat for future desires and plans for the casino property and some other things that might want to happen in Lake Worth. Are we going to have anything on the calendar for that?
I don't know what the protocol is these days for retreats. They're usually frowned upon, right? Through most governmental entities at this point.
Madam Mayor.
Commissioner Hardy?
If by retreat Commissioner Robinson means an opportunity for all of us to get together in the public and discuss the visions that we have for the city, not necessarily I think when most people think about the word retreat, and when this first came up the last time, I thought Commissioner Robinson meant something like where we all go away and do trust falls and things like that. What he means, just for the public, is basically an opportunity for all of us to just come into a room just like this in a very loose but somewhat structured kind of way, and where we could talk about our visions. I think that would be a wonderful idea, specifically or particularly given the fact that we have a large pot of money coming into the city that has the opportunity to change the face of it.
I think what we refer to that, we've had those in the past. They're called visioning sessions.
Yeah.
That we've had in a more informal environment at the former shuffleboard courts, now called the
Hatch.
The Hatch. Sorry, I want to get that in there. Branding. So is that more what you meant, Commissioner Robinson?
Yes,
Okay.
we have, like it's been said, that we have limited conversation about some of our possibilities in Lake Worth, and
I mean, I think that if doing a workshop as a visioning session is not so much of a far stretch if we did it. I mean, it's the same thing, is it not?
It is.
So, I mean, doing it in a more informal environment, having the same meeting, I think would be okay. I mean,
so
go all on the same
when
consensus
when
among
would we?
commissioners? If we did it at the same time, the same thing,
I'm sorry, Madam Mayor.
Commissioner Hardy?
I'm sorry. I see a visioning session as something a little different from a workshop. I see a workshop as being very, let's drill it down, but perhaps we should discuss this when it's an agenda item. I understand, you know, as
Oh,
as
now
a
you're
matter of
sticking to the
protocol.
agenda?
Well, you know, I've had my ear pulled a number of times by a number of people. So, but I just do want to, you know, state on the record that I do think it's a good idea for us at some point to do exactly what Commissioner Robinson has suggested.
All right, let's keep the meeting scheduled. Why don't you talk to the city manager? Want to talk to everybody and see?
Because workshops are, the public sometimes has the ability to participate. I was thinking that it would just be a more open and more of a visioning.
Okay. I'm open to that. I'm good with visioning. I'm good with whatever you guys are good with.
So
As
there's
long as we're
a
chatting about it,
consensus.
the community has an opportunity to come talk about what they want,
Is that a
what
consensus?
their ideas are. I believe so, yeah.
To do what?
To make sure that it's a workshop and more of a visioning session that involves the public and their ability to come up and share with
No.
their.
No, that
It was
was,
just the opposite.
You want the opposite.
yes.
Do you want me to put this on the October 3rd meeting?
Please
for
do
more?
that. I would love for you to put that on the October 3rd meeting.
This
and let's have
discussion about what this
Let's do it.
session will be,
Do it. Make it
to
happen.
define it, because
And so let it be. Thank you.
yes.
An agenda item.
I'll entertain a
Excuse me,
motion to adjourn.
Madam Mayor,
We already have a motion.
you already had a motion, and that's number one.
Did someone second my emotion?
Number,
I will
number,
I
second
was
that
waiting.
motion.
Okay.
Second my emotion.
and number two, there's not enough time to put that item on the agenda for October 3rd. It's a 10-day ramp up.
All right, Debbie.
I'll
down.
bring it up under my comments.
There we go.
If I get a.
I've got a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor state so by saying, wait, aye. Aye. Anyone opposed to adjourning? Oh! Thank you, everyone.
Hey, thanks for coming in today.